Hello, everybody. This is Costa from Broker Bay, and today is Monday, July 6, 2020. And as always, we are getting back to you with this week's stats. So, as where we always start off, looking at the past 180 days and focusing in on this last week here. In all honesty, it's a strange week, obviously, because we had a long weekend on the Wednesday. So I feel like showings on both ends of the long weekend were probably like people were extending their stay at the cottage or maybe taking some extra time off. So I don't know how much we can rely on this last week's data as the overall sentiment for the market moving forward. But nonetheless, we're going to have a look. So as we can see here, middle of the week, showings dropped dramatically, which would have been the long weekend. And on either side of this week, we could see that showings were still less than last week. We didn't do a report last week, but I think it's important to touch upon the fact that last week was quite aggressively higher than any week in the last 180 days. So not only are we back to pre-COVID levels as we discussed last week, we have surpassed them quite a bit in terms of the previous week that just happened. This week things are starkly down, but that is definitely attributed to the long weekend, especially it being in the middle of the week and kind of disincentivizing many people from kind of taking any type of serious work on either side of the long weekend. All right, so in general, last couple of weeks, showings continue to trend higher. This week in particular was not that aggressively high because of the long weekend, and the same goes for offers. Last week, we had our highest week of offers being registered. We're still not back to the peaks that we were with pre-COVID-19, but as we have been discussing, this is a lagging indicator, and the likelihood that we will be in and around these regions in the next week and a half to 2 weeks, I'm going to consider that possibility quite high. So yeah, things are quite down this week due to the long weekend, but the previous week things were trending pretty aggressively higher, moving towards pre-COVID-19 levels for offers as well. When we look at the last 30 days, we're starting to see things begin to level out in terms of activity, keeping in mind that this low right here, which we're seeing in the middle of the week, is the long weekend. But we're seeing that last week's top is generally higher than the previous 2 weeks prior to that, but the peak of this week was lower than last week, keeping in mind again that this was the long weekend. In terms of numbers, when we look at month over month, how the stats are doing, this week compared to a month ago, showings are up 18%, which is, again, it's higher, but it's the trend is not as aggressive as it was in previous weeks. So showings are up 18% month over month. Offer registrations continue to outpace showings, up 42%. New listings down 8.4% compared to a month ago, which I find very interesting. New exclusives 23.8% down compared to a month ago, and solds are up 33.9% this week compared to a week a month ago. So things are continuing to trend in the right direction at a slower pace now that we're starting to get back to pre-COVID-19 levels. As expected, when we look at this week compared to the week before was stronger in almost every regard than this week, and that is mainly due to, as you can see here, the long weekend being in the middle of the week and likely disincentivizing people to work very hard before and after that particular day. So as you can see, last week, which is this pink line, in terms of showing activity, is higher almost the entire week than showing activity this week. But as you can see, finally, as we get to the Sunday here, this week starts to trend slightly higher, and I would suspect that this coming week we're going to see things aggressively trend higher than last week. So I think this is an anomaly, and I'm confident we can all agree it's because of the long weekend, and this doesn't indicate any meaningful trend in buyer sentiment or market activity. Just to go through the stats, showings this week are down 13.6% compared to the previous week. Offer registrations down 11%. New MLS listings down 3%. New exclusives down 25%. And sold listings down 10.5% this week compared to last. I think this coming week, we're going to get a much better feel as to what's actually happening in the market now that we don't have a long weekend. And I'm excited to get back to you with the stats the following Monday. So we're back to our normal schedule. As always, I will be including this chart and this link to these charts in the video if you want to share them with clients. Feel free to share them with clients. I get a lot of emails every week asking if they can share these on social media. You can use these charts however you would like to and however they're going to add value to your business. Thank you everyone for your time, and we'll be in touch next Monday. Talk to you soon.